Good morning, folks. We're back out at Dad's shop again. Dad's here with me. Leo's down there chewing on a bone again. He'll be making noise through the whole video, but it keeps him occupied so he's not trying to climb up on our laps and bother us the whole time. So today I got another lantern that my brother-in-law John went to an antique store in Wisconsin that had a lot of lanterns at it and picked a few of them up there for me. But the first one that he sent me a picture of was this little 242C. And as soon as I saw it, I was interested. They're definitely getting harder to find. So since we're working on a 242C today, I got Dad's 242C out and lit it up. Dad used to use this one camping just a few years ago. He was still using this one camping. So I got this out and lit it up. His is 1950, and his has stamped fount. I don't know if the camera will pick that up. We'll set it off to the side here where it's kind of still just in the edge of the shop, so you can watch it burning while we're working on this one.
Got a nice sunrise globe in it.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know if the camera will pick that up, but they usually do when they.
Good.
Yeah. Definitely is in good shape. Even the Pyrex on the back of it, you can read it. So he sent me pictures of this one. I said, yeah, pick it up. It was reasonably priced. It's got a made in Mexico for Coleman globe. So one of the first things we're going to do is we're going to swap that globe out with this. I can never remember the model number of this. 5101. This is the one that I took the top off of for my, when I made my reverse Christmas lantern video. This has got a Pyrex sunrise globe. It's pretty faint, but it's a correct globe for this lantern. So we're going to swap out that globe for sure. Put the nice sunrise globe in this 242C. This is actually a correct vintage globe for that. I don't know when they made these lanterns, but my guess is the 50s or 60s, and they probably had a more modern globe in it at some point. It's just been swapped out for that one. I don't know that for a fact, but that would be my guess. So let's start by getting this globe out of here. We'll set it back in that other lantern, then it can go back out and hang back up in the rafters. Then we'll check out everything else on this little lantern. There we go. That one can go back out, get hung up in the side building. Whoop, better put the ball nut back on it. We might want that for something else at some point in the future.
It's been handy for parts.
Yeah, it has. Alright, this has got an old loose weave Silk-Lite mantle on it, but unfortunately it's got a big old tear down the side of it and it's coming apart. If it wasn't broken, I would definitely try to save that old Silk-Lite mantle and reuse it, but it is broken, so we'll pull that off of there. Good God, the string on those old mantles is tough.
It holds up good.
Yeah, it does. And somebody asked me before about the old, like the mantles, how fragile they are. Well, they are. They just crumble apart. I shouldn't be crumbling it up. That's an old radioactive mantle. I'm gonna go throw all that in the garbage so Leo doesn't eat it. The old Silk-Lite, let's see, I'll grab one here. I know I got some packages of them in here. The old Silk-Lite mantles are thorium coated mantles, where the newer ones are yttrium. And these old mantles, just like the one that's on here, are mildly radioactive. They're not bad, like they're not highly radioactive by any means, but you probably shouldn't let your dog eat them.
If he turned into a Ninja Turtle or something now?
No, it probably just turned into more of a pain in the ass than he already is.
Okay.
But yeah, so use a little bit of precaution with them. Don't crunch them up and inhale the dust, because once it's in your lungs, it's there for a long time, being mildly radioactive the whole time. So
Don't eat them or nothing.
yep. Get in a little closer and I can show you what we got here. It's a different style burner than a normal Coleman. It's got two air tubes that come up, the manifold goes across the top. Your generator, this is the same generator that a 200A takes, so you can still buy replacement generators for this, and if it needs one, I've got some in here. The generator comes up right here, goes through this part of the manifold, back down and into the burner. They're a neat little lantern. We've got a video that I did on two 243 lanterns, and I'll put a link to that video down in the description, because we got a couple of those too, and they're pretty similar to this. So I know that this pump does nothing. So let's get a screwdriver, pull that pump out of there. You got these screws lined right up where it's kind of hard to get in there, but fortunately, well, that screw's not even snug. Probably because people can't get in there and tighten it up good. So fortunately, that wasn't very tight, but lots of times you got to try to get the side of a screwdriver blade in there and break it loose. And then the bottom one's a little easier to get at, because you can just tip the lantern. That wasn't very tight either. So Dad's 1950 has like a more modern style pump with screws that go in, and this has got, lift this back up here, like an older style pump that goes down inside the tube, where that one kind of goes like a cap over the outside. I'm guessing that's just a difference in the years. This particular lantern, I'll try to show the bottom of it there. I don't know, it never shows up well. I'll snap a picture of that too. But this particular lantern is either 6 of 46 or 9 of 49. They were making this model both of those years. So I do not know if this is a 1946 or a 1949.
Well, some of them had a bad pump system on them, didn't they?
Yeah.
All the ones, the one I've got, the pump system.
It's got what they call the European style pump, so it doesn't have where you can crank that valve down and shut it with a needle valve so that it can't leak by. You're just counting on the check valve holding to not let any fuel leak by. There we go. Oh, that leather's not that bad.
Well, that looks like a modern type of pump, doesn't it?
Yeah. I think that's okay. That leather's not hard or anything. It's just dry. I'm going to gently spread it out a little bit.
A little mystery oil on that.
There we go. Looking down inside of there looks fine. I don't know, that pump, that leather is a little,
Yeah, it looks
a little rough around the edges, but I'm going to try to reuse it. I'm going to dip it in some Marvel Mystery Oil, put it back in here, and then we can check and see if this thing builds any pressure or not. I did take the fuel cap off and give this a sniff to see if it had old rotten gas in it, and it smelled fine, but that is all the more I've done with it. I've not really checked out much of anything on it. I guess before I, oh yeah, now it's got good resistance. So let's go ahead and slide that back down in there. stick my screws back in, then we'll take the fuel cap off and check out the gasket in it and see what the cap gasket looks like. I don't think I have cap gaskets that size. I might actually. Looking right here, I think I do. I do have a cap gasket that size. So if it needs a cap gasket, I've got one to replace it. We'll check it out and see what it looks like. I know that the videos here the last couple months have been leaning pretty heavy on the lanterns. It's been a while since I've done something different, but my next video I think is going to be back on the 27 Dodge Brothers. I think we're going to get the gas tank out and put gas tank sealer in the fuel tank in the next video, or at least sometime the next few videos we're going to get back to that. But wintertime in Iowa, there's not much we can do outside, and I end up leaning pretty heavily on lanterns for my videos through the wintertime. That cap gasket doesn't look horrible. I know the camera won't focus on it well, but it doesn't look too bad. I think it might be okay.
Top lip on the lantern looks good and clean.
Yeah. Somebody at some point has been in there and brazed around that, so I wonder if...
I don't know what that is.
Well, there's plier marks around there, and I think they probably were tightening that cap really damn tight.
Maybe broke it
and
loose.
Broke it loose, so then they soldered it back together. But then on the other hand, it doesn't make much sense why that cap gasket looks fine then. So let's try to put a little bit of pressure in it and see if it leaks around that cap gasket. Now that we got a pump that'll pump. Also, I don't know if I already said it, but maybe this week the video won't end up being over an hour long. The last couple have been pretty long on my Friday videos. That's just the way it goes sometimes.
Sometimes people get long-winded on stuff.
Yeah, sometimes it just take more time to get it done. I don't hear anything hissing there. Let's crack the valve and see if we hear anything. Yep. It quits hissing when I turn the tip cleaner. Starts going to put it back down, so I may not have to tear this one down. You can see up the bottom of the air tubes there. I don't know if I should just...
Well, you got the mantle off.
And it's super easy to do.
Yeah.
It's one nut right there. We'll just pull that off and blow it out. It's easy to do at this point. It's 7/16.
Okay.
Okay. Only is one little nut that you take loose, just kind of like on a 200A. You can pull it apart super easy, so I guess there's not too much sense in not going ahead and pulling it apart. And we'll turn the air compressor on and blow this out.
Yep, I'll go do that.
The burner's still got the screen in it. We'll see if that... Sometimes the burners will thread right off and other times they won't. I am not going to force it. I can blow air through the screen to blow it out. So, plus on these with 2 air tubes, you can hold your thumb over there, blow air in one side and out the other, and it's going to force anything that's in there to come out instead of down into the burner. So we'll pause the camera while we're blowing this out. That way you don't have to hear the loud noise of the blowgun hissing. Almost nothing came out of that. I'm not going to scrub it down with steel wool or anything. I'm just going to take a towel here and wipe this out just a little bit just to get the dirt and dust out of it. And I know I just said that I wasn't going to tear it completely down, but I might as well.
to blow around that.
Yeah, I'd like to clean around that, so. You can get those collars off of there without taking them apart. You just have to squeeze them a little bit into an oval shape and then squeeze them back when you put them back on there. But since we're already this far apart, I'm gonna spray a little bit of glass cleaner on here. Oops, better get that out of the way. Spray a little bit of glass cleaner on here and clean this up. I don't think I'm gonna even take the generator off of it. It passes air and hisses, so I don't see much reason to take it off. If for some reason it doesn't work on these, you can pop this whole assembly off, save the mantle, set it all off to the side, and not have to break your mantle to get the generator back out of there. So if I have to, I can take it apart later, but I don't think I'll have to. I don't know what's on here. There's white, like almost like white spray paint overspray. I might real gently try to hit that with a piece of quad zero steel wool, an old piece that's already pretty soft right here because it's been used before. I might try hitting that and just see if that stuff comes off. You can already see underneath there, there's the fountain brass underneath. You can see a little bit of brass peeking through the paint. But I'm not going to get carried away. I don't want to scratch up the paint or anything. I just want to see if this would come off easily. I think some of it is coming off. Actually, if it's old spray paint,
Well, the carb cleaner might
yeah,
help you.
it might be beneficial to get just a little bit of carb cleaner on there and try it and see if that, oh yeah, that makes it come off way easier. That just wiped off after I sprayed a little carb cleaner on it, so I don't think I even need the quad zero steel wool. Spray a little carb cleaner on it and just hit it with a towel. I always want to set that carb cleaner or glass cleaner stuff right down in front of the camera. I'm pretty good at setting it right where it's blocking stuff. Oh yeah, that is wiping right off of there. Whatever it is, it's kind of leaving a haze on there. It's still spreading out over the fount. I don't know. Yeah, you can see it on that side too. It's just kind of all speckled around there. It must have sat somewhere where something got painted sometime in the last 75 years.
It's not oven cleaner though.
No. You had to bring that up, didn't you?
I hear of people doing that. Good enough.
It's kind of out of character for me, but I just put a little bit of wax on this. I usually don't shine stuff up, but the paint was looking really dull after that carb cleaner on there cleaning off that old paint overspray. So I decided to just give it a little spritz of this turtle wax spray wax here.
Good for turtles.
and shine it up just a little bit. Look at that, I didn't even realize that till right now. This does have the stamped, like Dad's, stamped into the fount. The Sunshine of the Night, Coleman, made in USA. I'll try to get a shot of that with my phone, maybe, if it'll show up, because the stuff never shows up well on the camera. Okay, not getting carried away. Any wax is more than what I usually would do, but I thought it looked awfully hazy after cleaning that old paint off of there. I don't know why the furnace is running. It's like 18 degrees outside. It's pretty nice today.
Well, maybe in the sunshine without the wind.
There we go. That's good enough. Not getting carried away, but that looks a little nicer. Dad took a little piece of steel wool and shined up the vent, or the collar, a little bit. He cleaned up the vent, but he didn't want to clean that part apparently. Let's hit this quad zero steel wool too. The old vent's a little chipped up and not perfect by any means, but it's still in pretty good shape. That quad zero steel wool makes them shine pretty good. So when I said I'm not getting carried away, apparently I am, because this is pretty carried away for me. This is more than I would usually clean something up. But yeah, it's got that paint overspray underneath there too. That's weird. There we go. Good enough. Let's put this thing back together, throw a little fuel in it, and see if it's gonna work. Still holding pressure, so I know my cap gasket's good enough. Alright, actually one thing I do want to try is I want to hit the bottom of this glass with a quad zero steel wool too, and see if that, a little bit more of that rust will come off of there. I'll bet it will. There we go, that looks better. I guess I'm gonna look and see where the Sunrise logo is on there and avoid it, but I'll shine up the rest of the glass with this quad zero steel wool too. Avoid where it says Pyrex down here too. I don't want to. It wouldn't take very much. I don't know. It's etched in the glass. Maybe it's more durable than I think, but I feel like it wouldn't take much to wipe that right off of there.
I wonder how they etched that in back then.
Probably acid etched, I would imagine, but I don't know.
They didn't have lasers.
I don't know. My guess would be acid.
Or sandblasting.
So, yeah. There we go. That's good enough. Now let's put this thing back together and see what it's going to do.
Notice that collar's a lot heavier than the newer one.
Oh yeah. There we go. Now after you get that on there, then you got to kind of squeeze it back into round. You got to kind of stretch them to get them off of there. But that's the way they were built, so any of them that comes apart,
take that whole needle out there, I suppose.
you'd still have to stretch it to get it off the bottom. Plus the slot is made to lift it up, so yeah, that's just the way they're built. There we go. That looks pretty good. Alrighty. I didn't pay attention to, I guess it'll only go one way. The generator has to come up through that hole, so it'll only go through there one way.
You got an example set right there.
Let's just see if I can see the end of that. Yep, I can see the end of the tip cleaner wire come up through the tip when I turn it. Pretty simple little lanterns.
I noticed that's got a regular hex nut on it instead of like a powell nut, like a
yeah. That was even the early 200As had a regular nut, and then the later ones went to like a speed nut on it. When they started trying to cheapen things up a little bit.
Yeah.
There we go. Doesn't have to be torqued down, just snug is good. Let's grab a mantle to throw on there. Actually, before I put the mantle on, oh, that feels really, really loose. I keep noticing that. I'm gonna snug that packing on that just a little bit here. There's just a little packing nut on there, and you don't have to go crazy. That little bit right there, now it doesn't like flop around. You barely touch it, it would move before. So, and that will probably be tight enough to keep it from leaking. It may not have leaked before even, but it definitely felt pretty loose. Let's see here. I'll set this can of fuel up here on the bench right next to the lantern that's burning.
What the world was that?
You okay, Leo? I guess my borescope wouldn't even fit down that hole. It's got a tiny little fill hole. You can barely fit, you have to have one of the old aluminum Coleman funnels. They just barely fit in there. I guess I'll at least take a peek down in there. Yeah, surface rust, but there's nothing rattling around in there. Alright. See if I can overfill this and make a mess on the tabletop right next to the other burning lantern.
Sometimes that funnel fits so tight in there, you gotta let it breathe a little bit.
The plastic ones will do that, but these metal ones have like little fluted edges on them to let the air back out. Also, when I keep making jokes about this lantern burning right there and everything, I know I've said it in several videos, but we've got a big old fire extinguisher on the wall right over there, 3 feet from the bench. And if you're not familiar with these old lanterns and stuff, or especially one you've never lit before, don't light it up in your kitchen or living room or something. Take it outside. We have worked on and lit hundreds of lanterns, and I still wouldn't do it without a fire extinguisher right there. There's room for a little bit more in there. But do keep in mind, this is gasoline, very flammable, and these old lanterns will flare up and catch fire every once in a while. If you watch my videos, every once in a while you'll see one light up and we'll have flames coming 2 feet out the top of the lantern. And so be careful with it. I don't want anybody burning their house down. There we go. I'll go ahead and pump it up before the mantle's on there. The mantles are the most fragile after you burned them in and before you've actually burned the lantern. That's when they are the easiest to break. That pump's pumping about 67% of the time, so we may have to replace that pump leather. But it's good enough for right now. There we go. So when you're pumping it, you can kind of feel the back pressure and feel when it just feels right. It's kind of thing like anything, when you've done something over and over and over, hundreds and hundreds of times, you just get a feel for it. Dang, I forgot to record cutting the strings off and throwing them on the floor for Dad to clean up later. But I did it, so I just forgot to record it. Alright, let's see. I'll get another one of these lighters that's almost out of fuel and burn this mantle in.
I cleaned out the motorhome. I had about 15 new lighters. Because whenever I see a bargain on one, I buy one.
There we go. Yeah, right now, that mantle is like, they're very floppy, and after you burn it, it's like it sets them or something and they get pretty rigid again. But right now, when it's just burned in and turned to ash, they are pretty fragile. I think I will light this and then put the globe and the vent back on, since I don't really know what it's going to do.
Well, it's easy.
Well, here goes nothing. Let's see what it does. It's hissing. It's blowing the flame down. Should hear a gurgle after a few seconds. Everything was dry, so there it's starting to gurgle and get a little bit of fuel. There she goes. Whew, gosh dang. Every time I open the valve a little bit more, it will flare up a little bit again. Now when I opened Dad's up, I did open it all the way and back seat the valve. Uh-oh, here's an issue. We're leaking fuel right there. I'm going to shut this back down and tighten that packing before we have to use that fire extinguisher. I should have checked that packing nut when I was talking about the one on the tip cleaner lever. I should have just checked the one on the front here too. Alright, the packing nut on the back of the knob was leaking, so I'm going to snug it up a little bit. Now, I got fuel and I got pressure in it, so I'm just going to relight it. I gave it a decent little turn there, and then if I see it seeping anymore, I got the wrench right here now, and I can just snug it up a little more. It should light up pretty easy now. So yeah, I was saying I checked on Dad's, and I know that this one does backseat when you thread it out, unlike some of the older models from the 20s. If you thread them out too far, the knob will just come out. Alright, let's give the tip cleaner a quick turn here. It's nice and bright. Tip cleaner works like it's supposed to. God dang, it's bright. I'm staring right at it trying to see because I feel like it's surging a little bit. Let's put the globe on there. Set the vent on there. Now, you know what? I always forget on these you can just go ahead and put the, once you get the globe on, you can put the handle back in there where it's easy to see what you're doing. Then set that back down on there. Put my little ball nut back on the top.
They got a different design ball nut too, don't they?
Yeah, and this one's a bigger diameter. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yours kind of looks like it might be a regular diameter, but for some reason this one's larger around than a normal one.
The one I have in the office has a bigger knob on it like that.
Alright, let's get the camera around here. See if we can show that. See if you can see that sunrise globe. I think it's showing up in there. Let's spin it around. And right there, may not show very well. Pyrex made in the USA. You can see the X of the Pyrex. There we go.
Nice looking lantern.
Yeah, burning nice. Well, we will get a shot of it at home in the dark tonight. Well folks, the old 242C is sitting out here running nice. I lit it up right after I got home from picking Willis up from school. So that was about 3:30, and it's a little after 6:30 right now. And right as I was walking out here, I just thought, well, I have not put the chickens away by lantern light in quite a while. So let's walk out here and put the chickens away. A little snow in the yard, not much. Not too bad for today's the 7th of January. But it's cold. It's about 14 degrees outside right now. Sorry about that. Have to have both hands to get the gate open. The ground's swelled. My gate sticks now. Let's see. The chickens are all huddled up on top of their laying box. I don't know why they all climb up there every night, but that's where they want to be, so. There we go. Alright, we got to set everything down here again so I can get the gate latched. There we go. I'll let the old lantern burn for a few more hours, till about 9:30 tonight probably, or until it runs out of fuel, whichever happens first. Thanks for watching, folks. If you're enjoying the content we're putting out, like I say every week, the best way you can help support our channel is to just let the ads play when they come up. Another good way to help support our channel is to give the video a like. If you're not already subscribed, hit the subscribe button. It's free to you and it really does help us out. Share the video. If there's someone you know you think would like this video, share it with them and come on back next week. We'll have a video or something here for you to watch. Thanks for watching, folks.